This is the Recycling, Scrap Metal, Commodities, and Economic Report, September 22nd, 2025. U.S. weekly raw steel production fell to 1.764 million tons, up 6.5% from last year and up 2% year to date. This is on the slow growth U.S. economy and 50% steel tariff protection. WTI crude oil price rose to $62.72 a barrel, despite robust global production. Possible sanctions on Russian oil remain a concern for the markets. U.S. weekly crude oil production fell just slightly to 13.482 million barrels per day. Global demand is slightly increasing, and there is a good supply. U.S. weekly crude oil rig count rose to 418, recovering from the recent multi-year low. This is on great productivity per well, bringing drilling profits despite fairly low prices. Scrap steel number one HMS price composite remained steady at $311.67 a gross ton on a good balance of supply and demand. Hot rolled coil steel price rose slightly to $40.40 per hundredweight, which is $808 a ton. This was on a slowing U.S. demand and the 50% steel tariff protection we talked about. Copper price fell to $4.63 a pound on stronger supply and good demand. Aluminum price fell to $1.21 a pound, which is $26.73 a metric ton, remaining fairly high on 50% aluminum tariffs and lower inventories. U.S. federal funds interest rate dropped 0.25% to 4% to 4.25%. The chair of the Federal Reserve suggested there could be another 0.5% drop by the end of 2025. He also said they expect U.S. 2025 GDP, which is economic growth, to be 1.6% and 1.8% in 2026. U.S. population and economic growth. U.S. population growth is forecast to slow in the coming years. Slowing birth rates and less immigration is hurting economic growth. U.S. August home building permits fell by 3.7% to 1.312 million annualized, the rate of the 1960s. This was on high interest rates and loss of buying power due to increasing inflation. Huge government deficits need financing, which is part of the reason that's causing these higher interest rates. U.S. weekly initial jobless claims fell by a big 33,000 to just 231,000, which is a sign of a good job market. Government layoffs continue, and they were up 45 to 572. U.S. August retail sales versus last year increased a nice 5%, which is a solid number. The problem is that high-end consumers are driving this growth. Middle and lower-end income people are being squeezed by higher food prices and higher utility rates. Wall Street's Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 481 points to 46,315, a new record high. The slowing job market had the Federal Reserve lower interest rates, as we discussed. The lower rates helps the economy. There was also good news on China trade, Apple, and Federal Express. This report is brought to you by Ben Lee, Roll-Off Trailers, Gondola Trailers, Lugger Trucks, and Roll-Off Trailer Parts, and, of course, Roll-Off Truck Parts. This is Greg Brown reporting. As always, feel free to call or email me with any questions, and we hope all have a safe and profitable week.